Okay, guys, so one of the jobs I got in the shop right now is I'm doing a transmission swap. This is a 71 Autostick car, and the customer wants a manual transmission put in it. So I've already got the Autostick out of this one, and just thought I'd make a video and go over the parts that are needed to make that conversion. And then over here is his donor car. This is a 71 Super, or excuse me, 72 Super Beetle. So they're off by 1 year, but it's a manual car. And then here's the manual transmission out of it that we're going to put in the green one. So I'm gonna go over all the parts that you need to make that swap. It's not necessarily a how-to video, but that might be one I do in the future if I get another client that wants to do a swap. But for this one, I'm just trying to get the cars back to the customer and wrap this one up. Okay, so in addition to the transmission, there's some things you're gonna need. Some of them you might be able to reuse from the donor car, but you know, since you got the tranny out, the motor out, you know, there's some things I would suggest you go ahead and replace, you know, while you got it out. First of all is the transmission mounts, both the front one and the two in the rear. You know, so these are things that get saturated with oil and tend to break down over time, so go ahead and swap that out. Now the bracket, the rear bracket is the same. I went ahead and pulled that off so that I could number one, change the mounts, and then go ahead and maybe blast and paint this, make it look nice. Also on the tranny, the ground strap, you need a ground strap. I'm gonna try to get a nicer one than that. And then the starter and starter bolt. Just want to, real quick, I'll show you the comparison on those two. So here's our Autostick transmission with the starter still on it, and it looks a lot bigger. I don't know, I might be wrong on this, but I think you need to change out the starter. But if I can put this one up next to it, like that, you can clearly see that the Autostick one is at least longer. So it's a bigger starter, and it's got looks like it's got a deeper reach right here to the flex plate, or the torque converter. Okay, so also on the transmission, good time to go ahead and change out your throwout bearing. Make sure it's in good shape, and then you'll need a clutch cable with the wing nut, and then your bowden tube. And then of course you want to make sure you got the bracket on the side of the transmission for the bowden tube. The bowden tube, if it's in good shape, you could probably reuse it, but on that bowden tube, one thing I was saying that those two cars, one's a 71 and one's a 72, that's actually when they changed, so 71 won't fit a 72 and vice versa. I went ahead and took that bracket off just to, again, I'll probably blast that and give it a little paint. Okay, and then on the engine you're going to have to change your oil pump. The Autostick has this looks like a double duty style pump. You know, you got the motor oil for the engine, and then on the front it's got this device to pump the transmission fluid to the transmission from the reservoir. So you're going to take that off. So, you know, get you a good oil pump, and go ahead and get some gaskets and some fresh self-sealing nuts for it, and change that out. And then the flywheel. The flywheel's got to be put on. So you'll need that. Then you need the pressure plate along with the bolts for that. And also the gland nut. And again, just for comparison, I'll show you the difference in these. So this is off of the Autostick. As you can see here, there's your torque converter and your flex plate. And but the difference in the gland nut is the thickness of the head. You can see the one off the Autostick is a little more shallow. So you'll need the one off your donor car. And again, while you're in there, you might as well go ahead and change out your rear mainsail, and then of course your O-ring for your flywheel, and then any shims you might need to reset your in-play if you have to do that. And then lastly, on the engine, the clutch disc. This is the donor one. It looks okay. It's still got some meat on it, but looks to maybe have a little oil saturation. I'm not sure, but I got this new one here, so I want to throw that on. And then inside the car, of course, you're going to need a pedal cluster. And it looks like the push rod for the master cylinder will work. So you could reuse that one or use the one that's in the Autostick. But as you can see, this one needs to be cleaned up. It's the pedal's actually stuck on it. So I'm going to do this will probably be my next video. I'm going to do a complete restoration on that pedal cluster and take it apart, blast it, paint it, put some new bushings in it, and make it look real nice. Then you're going to need your shifter and the hardware for that. Then the push rod, or the shifter, actually the shifter rod. And I got both of them here. I just wanted to show you the difference. This one on the left is the manual, and you can see it's just a tad bit longer than the Autostick. And then the Autostick, for some reason, I don't know if it matters, but it's got some kind of a little groove in the end of it there. So, but you'll have to change that out. And since you're doing that, you might as well go ahead and do your bushing and the retaining clip on that. And the Autostick, it had this on it for some reason, right behind the shift coupler. It had this on it with it, so that's got to come off in order to get the rod out. And then lastly, your shift coupler, you may as well go ahead and, update that. These also get worn out over time and have a little slop in them, so put that on. But that's basically it. The parts for your tranny, the engine, and then the stuff inside the car. And real quickly, I'll show you some of the stuff that came off of the Autostick. So these are some things you can take off of the car that you won't need anymore because you don't have the auto transmission. And of course, that would be the shifter and the wiring that goes with it. And there's the pedal cluster, and then the breastplate here. I'll reuse that. I just need to clean it up, but I'll take this line off of it first, and then you got these two big canisters. They sit behind or up under the rear fenders. So this one is the fluid reservoir. There's your fill cap. It's on the passenger side, and then on the driver's side is this one here. Is part of the vacuum system. So all that can come out. This was on the wall on the inside the engine bay, and then this sits atop the transmission itself. So all that stuff can come off and do what you want with it. And then also the wiring. There's a lot of wiring involved with these Autosticks, so you'll have to do a little bit of rewiring on the car. Like for example, the backup lights and you know, the red wire from the key switch to the starter, things like that. You have to reroute and rewire because you're going to get rid of a lot of wiring inside the engine compartment. Well, hey guys, I hope this video was helpful. Just wanted to show you the parts needed to make that swap. I'm actually, like I said, it's not a how-to video, but I was actually thinking about maybe doing one of those in the future should I get another customer that wants to do a swap. Let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see the procedure on that. It is pretty lengthy. Probably have to be broken up into maybe 2 parts. Also in the description, I went ahead and put a list of the parts you'll need to make the tranny swap. Oh, and also if you're wanting this done to your car, if you got an Autostick and you want a manual in it, you're not far from Tennessee, shoot me an email and I'll provide you with a quote. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.